were just kind of talking about that. I like to play guitar. That's one of my hobbies. I like to travel. Play computer games with my sons.
I have 2 kids, so I just try and keep them alive. That's my main. Boys, young boys especially, as you know, are very determined to be dead before they're 15. And they will do whatever they can to make sure that comes true. So it's my job as a dad to keep them alive. So far so good. No, it's not as funny as I thought it was going to be.
I like to do drawing, and I like to go running and walking. Mountain walks is always good.
I had a question about Ernest Hemingway's 6-word memoirs. You guys are familiar? Do you guys have a 6-word story or memoir?
Yeah, what was his again?
For Sale Baby Shoes, #1.
That's heartbreaking. Yeah.
Wow.
You owe me $10.50. There you go. I don't know. That's very interesting. I have thought about that because I've seen that. Yeah, and it's a kind of a bit of a trend now.
I've never heard of. So what? He turning a story into 6 words.
Yeah.
Someone dared him to write a story in 6 words, and so he did. And now people have written their own memoirs in 6 words. Some of the most important things in their life.
I think that's why I write novels, so I don't have to get it down to 6 words.
Not to think about. That's too important just to toss off 6 words. You have to, unless you're Ernest Hemingway. Right. Jack Kerouac.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about that? That's a good question. Great question. Tricky.
Amelia, you had something?
Do you guys daydream a lot?
We do, and it's a lovely thing. When most guys are told when they get to about 80, you gotta grow up, stop daydreaming, do your job. Whereas we are told, don't grow up, keep daydreaming, and write stories. So it's a great gift, I suppose, to be allowed to daydream all the time. Because most people have to stop at some point. No, we don't.
It's a kind of focused daydream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're in another place, but part of your brain has to be quite critical and keep pushing you always towards turning it into something constructive.
When it's 2 in the morning, it's not so great, because it can be very hard to get back to sleep when you get an idea at that time. Otherwise, yeah.
How long does it take to write a book, like in general?
For me, about a year, start to finish. I'd say that's the average. I've managed to complete books more quickly than that, but not easily.
Yeah, I think a year is
About a year for me.
from the very beginning till it's done. And in that time, you would have to write a draft or 2, and then it would go to your editor, and she would send it back, and you have to correct a few things. That might happen twice, so there's a lot involved.
But would you be working on multiple books at the same time? Or would it just be...
Ridley Pearson does. He's got a couple on the go, hasn't he? I personally have focused on one. I would find it hard to jump around too much.
I've got a little backup project, so if I get stuck or bored, I might do a little bit of work on that, but I do have one main book, and that's kind of where you spend most of your day.
Have you guys ever learned anything from your characters?
Not once. No, that's not true. I think what I learned from them is the ways they develop that I wasn't expecting them to develop, and that happens quite a lot. They'll sometimes take over and tell me how they're going to react to certain situations.
That's true.
I think quite often I have my characters do things that I would like to be able to do if I was kind of braver or more quick thinking, funnier. I put all into the characters, and I sit there thinking, I wish I could do that. But in real life, if you were as sarcastic as some of my characters, you'd end up getting a punch in the nose every 5 minutes.
My main character, or the one I'm best known for, is a genius. It's called Artemis Fowl, and I'm not a genius. And so therefore I have to research all the little quips and references and jobs that he does. So I actually end up learning a little bit about. I remember I had to learn all about quantum physics for one of the books. So I got a book. My brother actually, he's so kind. He sent me a book called Quantum Physics for Dummies. He said it might be a bit difficult for you, but have a read. So I ended up learning all about quantum physics because Artemis had to know. So in a very practical way, you do learn.
What else do you need to do to like come up with the characters and make them do interesting things?
You mean like structurally, like in the middle of a book you need it?
Yeah, like research, like you said. What else do you need to do except research?
Well, I think the character has to be believable. So it's not enough for him to be like a ringmaster or a wizard or whatever. It has to be a real person underneath. So if it is like a wizard and you take off his hat and you take off his cape, he has to be a real guy and not just his job. So for me, the easiest way to do that is to base him on somebody or a blend of people. And then he becomes real and you can hear him. Because one of the mistakes that young writers make, and I made for a long time, was that if you have 10 characters, eventually they all turn into you. So it's just what would I say in this situation? But if you base it on someone else, you can hear what that person would say, you know what they would say. So it really helps.
I think it's often good to just have your characters talking to each other, because as they talk, as they dialogue, that's a way of kind of accessing quickly the kind of people and characters that they are.
I find I have to look for a handle on the character, something that makes them relatable to me. Sometimes that's a past experience or a phobia they have, or maybe it's a hobby that they share with me, or some sort of into the character's personality that gives me a launching point for understanding them.
How does Percy relate to you?
How does Percy relate to me? He has my sarcastic sensibility thing. We have the same sense of humor.
I have a question about Artemis. How has, in that book, at one point it said that confidence is ignorance,
Yeah.
and it's known about writers in general that they tend to be self-critical and lack confidence. Has that held true for any of you in your careers, and how has it affected your writing?
I think writers go through tremendous changes and so. In the same day, I can be supremely confident that this is the best book I've ever written, and then by the afternoon, I'm thinking, "Oh my God, this is terrible. How would I ever read that?" And that happens every day. And then you it's a hard thing to fight through some days, but you just have to keep going. And it's especially difficult in the beginning when you haven't yet been published, and you don't know are you good enough to get published. So to do that every day anyway, I'm going to spend a year doing something that I don't know if and all I'm going to get for it is people hating it. That's kind of tough. So I think you are held back by low self-esteem sometimes, but you just have to keep going. And even when you do, I mean, we're all doing pretty well, but even so, we still get that. I still get it all the time. So it doesn't kind of stop. There's always another mountain to climb.
Do you have time for one more question? Do you have anything else?
What is your, the ideal spot for writing?
Trinidad.
Well, I like writing in my study. I like a fairly sort of cozy, quite boring sort of room, so I don't get too distracted by stuff. I like it to be quiet and a little cup of tea in the corner and a few biscuits or cookies kicking around, and then I'm happy.
I recently moved to Boston and I work out of my house. And I have to say it's very hard because I have a great view of the Charles River right out the window. So I do find myself getting more distracted than I was in San Antonio, where there was pretty much nothing to look at. But I like working at home. If I can stay put and sort of have some continuity, just make my commute downstairs in the morning. That's great.
I'm the same. I've got it used to be a stable, and we converted it. It still smells a bit horsey, which is not good, but I'm out there and I put on my 1980s music, and I sing along to We Built This City on Rock and Roll and typing away, and I'm very happy. I think it's very necessary to have some kind of distance between you and your family. you get sucked into all the domestic stuff. I do anyway. So it's nice to have a little place.
Can we just do a group picture?
Sure.